Dr. Kim Hana wiped sweat from her forehead as she climbed down into the dark hole. The mining ship had been drilling into this big rock in space for 3 days. Now they found something strange deep inside. "The metal readings are very weird," said Park Jin-ho. He was the security officer for their team. His hand stayed close to his gun as they walked through the tunnel. The walls looked too smooth and perfect to be natural. Lee Min-ho ran his fingers along the strange patterns carved into the rock. "This is not made by nature," he said quietly. "Look at these shapes. They are too exact. Someone made this." The tunnel went down for a long time. Their lights showed more carved symbols on the walls. The air felt thick and old. Hana checked her equipment again and again. Something big was waiting for them below. Engineer Osumi walked behind them, scanning everything with her tools. "The energy readings are getting stronger," she whispered. "Whatever is down there, it is still working after all this time." They had been called to this asteroid because the miners found metal that should not exist. The rock was floating in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. From the outside, it looked like any other space rock. But the miners' deep scans showed something impossible hidden in its center. Captain Choi Dae-ho waited on the ship above them. He spoke to them through their radio headsets. "Team, what do you see down there? The ship sensors are going crazy." "We are almost at the bottom," Hana replied. "The tunnel opens up ahead. There is definitely a large chamber down here." As they reached the end of the tunnel, their lights revealed something that made them all stop and stare. The small tunnel opened into a huge round room. The ceiling was so high their lights could not reach it. But that was not the most amazing thing. In the center of the chamber stood a giant crystal structure. It was tall as a building and wide as a house. Inside the crystal, they could see a huge figure floating in some kind of liquid. The figure looked like a person but was much bigger. It had to be at least 3 meters tall. Strange machines surrounded the crystal. They had shapes that hurt to look at too long. The metal was not like anything humans had ever seen. It seemed to bend, light around itself. "My God," Sumi breathed. "How old is this place?" Hana set up her dating equipment with shaking hands. The numbers that appeared on her screen made her check them 3 times. "This has been here for about 50,000 years, she said in a whisper. "That is impossible," Minho said. "Humans were barely using stone tools 50,000 years ago. Who could have built this?" The figure in the crystal looked peaceful, like it was sleeping. Its face was not quite human, but not completely alien either. It wore some kind of armor or suit that seemed to be made from the same strange metal as the machines. Jin-ho kept looking around the chamber for any signs of danger. "Should we wake it up?" he asked. "We do not even know if it is alive," Hana replied. "But these machines are definitely still working. Look at these readings." Minho set up his deep scanning equipment to get better readings of the crystal and the figure inside. "I need to scan deeper to understand what we are looking at," he said. "Be careful," Sumi warned. "We do not know what might happen if we disturb anything." But Minho was already activating his scanner. The device sent out invisible waves to map everything in the chamber. The waves hit the crystal structure, and suddenly, everything changed. The crystal began to glow with a soft blue light. The strange machines around it started to hum and move. Lights appeared on surfaces that had been dark for thousands of years. The chamber filled with a sound like singing, but too low for human ears to hear properly. "Turn it off," Jinho shouted, but it was too late. The figure inside the crystal opened its eyes. They glowed with the same blue light as the crystal. Slowly, very slowly, it began to move. The liquid around it started to drain away. Alarms began ringing from their equipment. The ship above them was detecting massive energy spikes. "Captain," Daeho's voice crackled through their radios, full of panic. "What is happening down there? Every sensor on the ship is screaming." The ancient machines worked faster now. Panels that had been dark for millennia lit up with symbols none of them could read. The air itself seemed to vibrate with power. Hana grabbed her team and pulled them back toward the tunnel entrance. "We need to get out of here," she said. "We have no idea what we just woke up." But as they reached the tunnel, a voice filled their minds. It did not come through their ears but seemed to speak directly to their thoughts. The voice was old and tired but also incredibly powerful. "I am Kael'thar," the voice said. "I have been waiting for you for so very long." The figure in the crystal was now fully awake, looking directly at them through the crystal walls. Its eyes held intelligence older than human civilization. "What have we done?" Jinho whispered as the ancient chamber continued to come alive around them. The crystal walls began to melt away like ice in the sun. The giant figure stepped out onto the chamber floor, water dripping from its strange armor. Kael'thar stood much taller than any human, but moved with careful grace like someone very old and tired. Hana and her team pressed against the tunnel wall, not knowing if they should run or stay. The ancient being looked at them with glowing blue eyes that seemed to see everything about them at once. "Do not fear me," Kael'thar's voice spoke in their minds again. "I am the last guardian of the Eternals. My people once protected this galaxy from terrible dangers. Now that duty may fall to you." Captain Deho's worried voice came through their radios. "Team, report. What is your status down there?" Minho found his voice first. "Captain, we have made contact with an alien entity. It calls itself Kael'thar. It appears to be friendly." "Friendly," Jinho whispered. "How can we know that?" Kael'thar heard him somehow. "Because if I meant you harm, young warrior, you would already be gone. I have power beyond your understanding, but I use it only to protect." The Guardian moved slowly around the chamber, touching different machines. As it did, more lights came on, and the humming grew louder. "I have slept for so long," it said sadly. "While I dreamed, the galaxy forgot the old dangers, but now they return." Sumi stepped forward, her curiosity stronger than her fear. "What dangers? What are you talking about?" Kael'thar turned to look at her. Even though its face was not human, she could see great sadness there. "The Devourers," it said, "beings from beyond our galaxy that eat reality itself. They consume not just planets or stars, but the very fabric of space and time." "That sounds impossible," Minho said. "Many things sound impossible until they happen," Kael'thar replied. "My people, the Eternals, fought them for millions of years. We built great weapons and strong defenses, but in the end we could only delay them, not stop them." The Guardian walked to a wall covered in strange symbols. As it touched them, they began to glow and move like a living picture. Images appeared showing vast space battles between impossible ships and creatures of pure darkness. "We knew the Devourers would return someday," Kael'thar continued. "The stars themselves told us when it would happen. So we prepared. We hid weapons throughout the galaxy. We built this tomb to keep one Guardian alive until the time came." "And that time is now?" Hana asked, though she already feared the answer. "Yes. The stellar alignment my people predicted has begun. Even now, the Devourers probe the edges of your galaxy. Soon they will come in full force." Captain Deho had been listening through their radios. "Guardian, our long-range sensors have detected some unusual readings at the galaxy's edge. Are those the signs you speak of?" "Show me," Kael'thar said. Minho quickly set up a connection to the ship's sensors. The data appeared on a small screen, but Kael'thar seemed to understand it immediately. "It has already begun," the Guardian said with great sadness. "These readings show systems simply disappearing, not destroyed, erased from existence. The Devourers have sent their scouts ahead." Jinho felt cold despite the warm air in the chamber. "How many people live in those areas?" "Billions!" Deho's voice came through the radio, tight with worry. Kael'thar touched more symbols on the wall. New images appeared showing human colonies and space stations. "Your species has spread far since my people last walked among the stars. That is good. You will need to be strong for what comes next." "What do you expect us to do?" Sumi asked. "We barely understand your technology. How can humans fight something that your advanced people could not defeat?" "Because you are young," Kael'thar said simply. "My people became too old, too set in our ways. We could only think of fighting the same battles over and over, but young species think differently. They find new solutions to old problems. The Guardian moved to another part of the chamber where more machines waited. There is something else. The weapons my people left behind will only work for those who prove themselves worthy. They must be activated by a species that shows the right qualities. What qualities? Hana asked. Courage in the face of impossible odds, the will to protect others even at great cost, the ability to work together despite differences. Most importantly, the wisdom to use great power without becoming corrupted by it. Kael'thar looked at each of them in turn. Your people found me not by accident. Ancient systems guided your miners to this place when the time was right. But I cannot force you to help. The choice must be yours freely given. More alarms began ringing from their equipment. Captain Deho's voice came through, strained with urgency. Guardian, we are receiving distress calls from 3 outer colonies. They report strange phenomena. Space itself seems to be unraveling around them. Kael'thar's glowing eyes dimmed with sorrow. It begins sooner than I hoped. The Devourers are testing your defenses. Those colonies will be gone within hours unless something stops the scouts. Can you stop them? Jinho asked. I am too weak from my long sleep. But there are weapons hidden in your solar system, left by my people long ago. If humans can prove worthy, they will activate. The ancient being looked at them with hope and desperation mixed together. The question is, will your people choose to try? 3 months had passed since the discovery of Kael'thar. Earth's biggest meeting room was full of worried leaders from every nation. Admiral Nam Hyejin stood at the front, her face grim as she showed pictures from space. We have lost contact with 17 colonies, she said, not destroyed by weapons or war. They just stopped existing. Our ships go to where the colonies should be and find nothing. Empty space where planets and people used to live. President Kotewan rubbed his tired eyes. The leader of Earth's government had not slept well in weeks. Show them the video from the Kepler station, he said quietly. A large screen lit up showing a space station orbiting a distant planet. The people watching could see normal activity. Ships coming and going, lights in the windows, everything peaceful. Then something changed. The edges of the station began to look fuzzy, like a bad picture. Within minutes, the entire station simply faded away. The planet it orbited flickered and vanished too. The last message from Kepler station said reality was coming apart. Admiral Hyejin continued. The crew reported that their walls were becoming see-through and their equipment was turning into mist. Dr. Kim Hana stepped forward. She had become Earth's main expert on Kael'thar and the ancient threats. The Guardian warned us this would happen. The Devourers don't destroy things in ways we understand. They eat the basic rules that make reality work. Councilman Shin Junho slammed his hand on the table. While we sit here talking, more people are dying. My grandson lives on one of the outer colonies. Every day we wait, these things get closer to Earth. And what would you have us do? Asked General Park Sunmi. The Guardian says we need to prove ourselves worthy of these ancient weapons, but some of our allies want to use this alien technology to attack each other instead of fighting the real threat. President Ko stood up slowly. That is exactly the problem. 3 different nations have demanded that Kael'thar share his weapons with them alone. They want to use eternal technology to win old wars against their neighbors. Dr. Hana activated a communication device that connected them to the asteroid where Kael'thar waited. Guardian, can you explain to them what the trials mean? Kael'thar's voice filled the room, speaking directly to their minds as always. The trials are not tests I give you. They are choices your people make every day. How you respond to crisis shows who you truly are. But what exactly are we supposed to do? Asked Minister Lee Kyung-ho from the Korean delegation. Act as your best selves would act, Kael'thar replied. When faced with impossible choices, choose hope over fear. When you can save only some, still try to save all. When others attack you, defend without becoming attackers yourselves. Far out in space, Captain Song Minwoo received an urgent message on his ship. His small fleet was the closest to 3 colonies that had just sent out distress calls. All 3 were reporting the same thing. Space around them was starting to look wrong. Sir, said his communications officer. "We can only reach one colony in time. The other two will be lost if we don't choose quickly." Captain Song looked at the star map. The smart choice was obvious. New Sol Colony had the most people and the best defenses. They had the best chance of surviving long enough for rescue. The other two colonies were smaller and farther away. But Song remembered Kael'thar's words about choosing hope over smart strategy. "Split the fleet," he ordered. "Send ships to all 3 colonies." "Sir, that means we might not save anyone," his second officer warned. "Maybe," Song said, "but we won't abandon people without trying." Back on Earth, the leaders watched as reports came in from Song's mission. His divided fleet was taking heavy losses as reality broke down around the colonies. Strange entities, made of pure darkness, attacked his ships and several were lost completely. "This is madness," General Park said. "He should have saved the colony he could reach." But then something unexpected happened. As Song's crews risked their lives trying to save everyone, the ancient weapon systems hidden throughout the solar system began to respond. Hidden installations, under the Moon, Mars, and even Earth itself, started to glow with blue light. Dr. Yoon Ji-woo, watching from the space monitoring station, couldn't believe her readings. Energy signatures are appearing everywhere. It's like the entire solar system has been sleeping and is now waking up. Kael'thar's voice came through their communicators, stronger than before. "Your Captain Song and his crews have shown the first quality, choosing compassion over calculation. The weapons respond to such choices." On his ship, Song felt something strange happening. His connection to the ship's systems felt deeper, more natural. Without thinking about it, he knew exactly where to direct his weapons to hurt the dark entities attacking the colonies. Engineer Bae Seoho, monitoring the new installations from Earth, made an amazing discovery. These aren't separate buildings buried on different planets. They're all connected somehow, like parts of one giant machine. "More than that," Dr. Lim Haeun added, studying the biological readings. "They're connected to the planets themselves. Earth has been an eternal stronghold this whole time. We just never knew it." President Ko looked around the room at the other leaders. "The Guardian isn't asking us to change who we are. It's asking us to be the best version of who we already are." The choice was clear but not easy. Humanity could try to be worthy of the ancient weapons, or they could fight each other while reality itself crumbled around them. Captain Song's ships reached the 3 colonies just as the dark entities began their final attack. The strange creatures looked like holes in space itself, eating everything they touched. Song watched his sensors as reality bent and twisted around the enemy. "Send rescue pods to all 3 colonies at once," he ordered. "Don't leave anyone behind." His crew thought he was crazy. They had barely enough ships to save one colony properly. But they followed his orders anyway, splitting their small fleet into 3 even smaller groups. Lieutenant Kim Sora piloted her rescue ship toward the smallest colony. As she got closer, she felt something odd happening. The ship's controls seemed to respond to her thoughts before she even touched them. "This is strange," she said to herself. "It's like the ship knows what I want to do." Back on Earth, engineer Bae Seoho watched his computer screens in amazement. Hidden installations all over the solar system were lighting up like Christmas trees. Under the ground in Seoul, massive machines that had slept for thousands of years were humming to life. "The energy readings are incredible," he told Dr. Lim Haeun through his radio. "Whatever these things are, they're using more power than our entire planet." Dr. Haeun was studying the biological effects of the awakening installations. "Seoho, you need to see this. The machines aren't just on Earth, they're part of Earth. The metal in these devices matches minerals in our planet's core." Meanwhile, young pilot Kang Soo-young was flying a supply run to the moon base when everything changed. Her small cargo ship suddenly felt different, like it was alive. The controls moved under her hands, but not against her will. They moved, with her will, better than she could move them herself. "Control tower, something is happening to my ship," she reported. "But it's not bad. It's like the ship and I are becoming friends." The tower operator, Park Jaemin, checked his readings. "Your ship's energy signature is changing, but all systems show normal." "Actually, they show better than normal." Soo-young laughed with wonder. "I can feel the stars," she whispered. I know where every planet is without looking at my navigation system. On the asteroid where Kelthar waited, the ancient guardian felt the awakening happening across the solar system. Its blue eyes grew brighter as the eternal network came online after 50,000 years of sleep. Dr. Hana, Kelthar's voice spoke to her team. Your people are proving themselves worthy faster than I dared hope. But they must be careful. The power awakening now could destroy them if they lose who they are. Hana understood. You mean we have to stay human even as we become something more? Exactly. My people made this mistake long ago. We became so powerful that we forgot how to feel compassion. That is why we could never truly defeat the Devourers. Back at the colonies under attack, Captain Song's divided fleet was somehow winning, against impossible odds. His ships moved together like dancers, each one knowing exactly where the others would be. The dark entities that had seemed unstoppable were being driven back. Sir, his communications officer said with wonder in her voice, it's like we're all thinking the same thoughts. I know what Lieutenant Park's ship needs before he asks for it. Song nodded. He felt it too. His small fleet was becoming something greater than the sum of its parts, but each person was still themselves. This is what the Guardian meant, he realized. Working together without losing ourselves. On Earth, the leaders in the meeting room watched the battle through their screens. The installations under major cities were glowing so brightly that people could see the light coming up through the ground. My God, President Ko whispered. Our entire planet is waking up. Dr. Heun made another discovery that shocked everyone. The installations aren't just connected to Earth, they're connected to life itself. Every living thing on our planet, plants, animals, humans, we're all part of this network. Engineer Seoho's readings confirmed it. The energy flows are following, the same patterns as our nervous systems. It's like Earth itself has a brain and we're the thoughts in that brain. Kelthar's voice came through their communicators again. Your planet was chosen by my people long ago as a guardian world. We helped guide evolution here to create a species that could inherit our purpose. So humanity was created to fight these devourers? Admiral Heejin asked. Not created, Kelthar corrected. Guided. Your species developed naturally, but my people made sure you grew up on a world that would prepare you for this moment. Young. Pilot Soo-young felt the change most strongly. As she flew her ship back to Earth, she could sense every human who was connecting with the awakening network. Thousands of people were experiencing what she felt, becoming more than human while staying completely human. It doesn't hurt, she reported to ground control. It feels like I've been asleep my whole life, and I'm finally waking up. Captain, Song's fleet successfully evacuated all 3 colonies, something that should have been impossible. As his ships headed home, he felt the network welcoming each rescued person into its embrace. The dark entities retreated, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The real devourers were still coming, and they would be far more dangerous than these scouts. But Earth was no longer sleeping. After 50,000 years, the planet was awake and ready for war. And humanity, still human but now something more, would be its champions. The awakening had begun. The attack came without warning on a cold Tuesday morning. Space itself began to tear open beyond Pluto, like someone ripping a hole in the fabric of reality. Through the tears came things that hurt to look at, massive entities made of pure darkness that consumed everything they touched. Admiral Nam Hyejin stood on the bridge of the newly built ship New Dawn. The vessel was a mixture of human engineering and ancient eternal technology. Around her, crew members who had bonded with the awakened network worked their stations with impossible precision. How many of them are there? She asked her sensor operator. Too many to count, Admiral, replied Lieutenant Cho Min-jae. His eyes glowed faintly blue as he connected directly with the ship's scanning systems. They're not just big, they're huge. Some of them are larger than planets. Pilot Kang Soo-young sat at the helm, her consciousness spread across a fleet of 1,000 ships. She could feel every captain, every crew member, all of them connected through the eternal network but still completely themselves. Admiral, she said softly, I can sense their intentions. They don't want to conquer us or take our resources. They want to erase us completely, make it so we never existed at all. On the asteroid, Kelthar's ancient form began to glow brighter than ever before. The Guardian had been preparing for this moment, gathering its remaining strength for one final act. Dr. Hana, Kelthar's voice spoke across space to Earth. The time has come. I must give everything I have left to fully activate the network. After this, humanity will truly be on its own. Hana wiped tears from her eyes. Over the months, she had grown to think of the ancient being as a friend. Will we ever see you again? In a way, yes. My essence will become part of the network that protects your galaxy. But Kelthar, as I am now, will be gone. The Guardian began to fade, its blue light spreading outward to touch every awakened installation in the solar system. As it disappeared, the network blazed to life with power beyond imagination. Commander Zhang Wusung led the first wave of attack ships toward the massive devourers. His squadron moved like a school of fish, each pilot knowing exactly where the others would be without speaking a word. Remember, he told his pilots, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every living thing in the galaxy. The battle that followed was unlike anything ever seen. Human ships danced between attacks that could destroy stars while the awakened pilots used weapons that bent space and time. But the most amazing thing was what Dr. Lim Heian discovered from her research station. Admiral Hiejin, she called excitedly, we're not just fighting the devourers. We're healing the damage they cause. Look at these readings. Where the dark entities had consumed reality, leaving empty voids in space, human ships were somehow making everything whole again. Stars that had been erased began to shine once more. Planets that had never existed suddenly appeared, full of life. How is this possible? Admiral Hiejin asked. We can do something the Eternals never could, Heian explained. They could only destroy the Devourers or hold them back. But we can actually repair what they've broken. We can bring back what was lost. Engineer Bei Sioho, coordinating the reality repair systems from Earth, felt the network's full power flowing through him. It's because we're still human, he realized. We haven't forgotten how to hope, how to create, how to love. That's what gives us the power to heal. The largest devourer, a thing so vast it blocked out entire star systems, came directly toward Earth. Its presence made nearby planets simply stop existing. But as it approached, something unexpected happened. Pilot Su Yung, now connected to every human ship in the fleet, spoke with the voice of all humanity. You have consumed countless worlds and destroyed billions of lives, but you cannot consume hope itself. The combined human fleet, moving as one mind with thousands of individual wills, surrounded the great devourer. Instead of attacking it with weapons, they attacked it with life itself. Every positive emotion, every act of love, every moment of joy that humans had ever experienced flowed through the network into a weapon the devourers had never faced. The great entity of darkness began to change. Where it had been nothing but void, stars began to appear. Where it had been death, life began to grow. The devourer was not destroyed. It was healed, transformed into something that created instead of consumed. One by one, the other devourers met the same fate. Some fought against the transformation, but they could not resist the combined will of an entire species that refused to give up hope. When the last devourer had been healed and sent back to the dark spaces between galaxies as a guardian instead of a destroyer, the human fleet gathered around Earth. The planet glowed like a blue star, beautiful and alive. Dr. Hana, now Earth's first guardian, stood in the command center that had once held Kelthar. Around her, screens showed human ships spreading out across the galaxy, not as conquerors but as protectors. We're not the same species that found that asteroid, she said to Park Jinho, who had become her partner in watching over their new responsibilities. No, he agreed, looking at the stars that now held no fear for humanity. We're what we were always meant to become. Earth's children were going to the stars, carrying hope and healing wherever they went. The galaxy was safe, and humanity had found its true purpose at last.